You've probably heard of financial freedom or the FIRE scheme, to earn passively and kick back and relax as a result. If you haven't, you only need to go to Instagram to see a whole host of aesthetically pleasing, tanned and trimmed partiers on yachts, roof terraces and jet skis, whilst the rest of us are in lockdown inside. How can you replicate that? The opportunities to get rich have never been more accessible, but it's knowing how to create this for yourself that's the real gem. Have you ever wondered what habits millionaires have and how they started? Well, let's get going then. Welcome to Money Talks, the channel that drops all the details around finance, personal development and investing. Welcome back. Today's video, I'm going to talk about the 6 common money mistakes that I see teenagers making, and as someone in my early 20s, things that I would potentially change. Right now, I'm in quite a fortunate position to put down my first real big investment, and some of these things are the reasons why I'm in this position now. So the first one is to get a job. This sounds counterintuitive, I know. You hear so many financial gurus telling you to work for yourself and to be entrepreneurial. But honestly speaking, the rough job I had when I was 16, 17, gave me the grit and the determination to know what I really want and what I don't want going forward. Now, when I say get a job, I mean get involved in work hard. Ideally get involved in an industry that you're kind of interested in, or if you have no idea, just get down and dirty essentially. You shouldn't be worrying about your wage because usually this is the least you're going to earn in your life. Instead, it's all about the lessons. And I know this is something your parents might say, which is really frustrating and you don't really get it. But it's about the role you play. It's about what you see in a business. What's going on? How much are they paying you versus how much do you generate for that business? What is the manager? What is the owner doing? How often do they drop in? It's quite rare that you're going to get this inside scoop of how a business operates in life going forward. So this is your time to really understand the mechanics whilst you are working there and you're doing the grittiest bit. When I was 16, 17, I worked in a fish and chip shop. It was not glamorous. I was paid minimum wage, even though I felt like I was doing so much. Subconsciously, that was the time when I learnt that I could own this place and reap so many more rewards. I felt like, in a sense, I was kind of being ripped off. I was doing so much. I was taking so much money. I was clearing the money out and just giving it to the owner whilst I took a measly £25 at the end of the night. And it's those kind of things that make you realise what you want to be in your life, that teach you those lessons, because you're learning about the mechanics. You're not there for the money. And if you don't learn these simple ways that business operate when you're young, you might find yourself in these jobs when you're older because you haven't been taught from day one. Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about this, but essentially work in it so you understand that, damn, I feel like I'm being ripped off. I want to change. I don't want this to be my life. Number 2 would be to save as much as you can. So you've got your job, you're 17, 18, 19, 20. Now is your opportunity to save it. You might not be earning much, but it's how you handle and manage this money that is important. I would aim to save at least 50% of what you are earning per month. That could be £200, but still, if you save £100, you're getting that feeling of managing money. Essentially, if you can do it with £100, you can do it with 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. If you learn how to manage money when you're younger, you're more likely to manage it better when you're older, when you have more power and more exposure to higher budgets. Of course, this depends on your situation, but for a lot of young people, your expenses are a lot lower. You are not paying rent, you might be sharing or not paying a food bill, and your traveling might not be a lot. So when you start to earn money, don't inflate your lifestyle and the cost of it to match what you earn. This is a time to scrounge, to act broke in a sense, because at 18, you're still figuring it out based on what society tells you. So this is a good time to collect your money, to manage it, and then to invest it, which we are going to talk about later on in this video. Number 3 is to shadow people in the field of business and entrepreneurialism. You can do this by tying it to number 1, by getting a job. Some common examples are to work in an estate agent, to get a feel for property and property investing and how they handle landlords and tenants. Or it could be working as a builder, as a handyman for a property development company, personal assistant for a business person, or even a fulfillment or distributor for packing up clothes for an e-commerce small business. All of these get a feel for the inside of a business, so you can see what that successful founder and owner is doing also. I wasn't really exposed to any entrepreneurs in my family or friends when I was younger. So although I felt like this is what I wanted to do and I had big ambitions, it's hard when you can't mimic someone's actions around you. That's what we all do, right? When we're kids, we mimic what our parents do, what our seniors do. It's much more difficult if you don't know what that looks like. Be prepared though to keep moving on. Don't settle in your job. Don't settle as a builder or as a handyman or as a PA to someone, because you are there for a purpose. The purpose again isn't the money. Of course you want to save the 50%, but it's to learn and eventually become that founder, work your way up by knowing the insides of that industry. Number 4 is to avoid credit and buy now, pay later schemes. These are becoming increasingly popular. No surprise, because they benefit those companies and the banks. I would encourage you to take out a credit card because this helps your credit score and to help that borrowing power and to prove that you are trusted by the bank down the line. But don't be fooled by free credit or the free money, so it seems, that comes with a credit card. You should always live within your means. And I would continue to live within my means even if I quadrupled my income or if I was earning passively, because that's just how you generate more wealth and that's how you have the money left over to invest. Avoid those schemes. If you can't afford it, don't pay for it. And just don't be tempted to think, oh, I've got £500 max on my credit card, I will just spend that, because the chance is when you get older and into your early 20s or mid 20s, you are so caught up on paying that back that you don't have the extra money to invest. An example of this is Klarna. You might see this on ASOS and Pretty Little Thing. They encourage you to pay for it now and pay for it in installments. For me, that's just a slippery slope of not being aware of my expenses and what I'm spending my money on, just not really being wise with my finances either. If you want me to do a video on how to improve your credit score and a bit more into detail, let me know in the comments below. I'm always open to that. Number 5 is to buy a buy-to-let investment property or a HMO, a house of multiple occupancy, as soon as you can. So by this stage, you should be learning, you should feel entrepreneurial, you should be working and earning and saving and ready to invest. So all of these are foundations to lead to the latter stages and hopefully to lead to wealth and security in your 20s and onwards. You can get a buy-to-let investment mortgage from the age of 18 and the HMO, house of multiple occupancy, from 21. HMO is slightly different. It's when you let out individual rooms in a house, for example, a student property or a property with nurses and doctors and professionals. Whereas a single let would be the buy-to-let mortgage, which could have a family in, or it could be a 2-3 bedroom house, which is just like a standard house to live in, so to say. When you invest in property, and I'm really passionate about this and hopefully doing this myself in the next year, you are putting your money somewhere that increases twofold. So by capital appreciation, i.e. you put your money into a property and that money goes up in terms of the amount that it's worth because of the equity of the house. Say you buy a house that's worth 200,000 and in 5 years time it's worth 300,000. Your money that you put in is now worth more. But also the second point of where you get that monthly cash flow, that can be really enabling too. If I put my money into a house, yes, I'm profiting from that house going up in value over time, but I don't really see that in real terms per month. That can't finance my life. So instead, that monthly amount that you get from tenants and the difference between what you get in from tenants and what you pay from the mortgage is what you have left to keep. And if you can secure a deal that has that return on investment, that really positive return on investment, you have done well. I use the sum on the screen now for return on investment and I aim for an ROI of 20% plus. It might sound a lot, it might sound confusing right now, but your main goal needs to be to save for a deposit, which is usually about 25% upwards of a house price. Once you've done that, you can start working out the calculations. The ROI calculations is basically seeing if what I put in can get the most amount back possible. The formula just summarizes the point of trying to buy lower and rent higher. I know in some areas the same rents are comparable. You get the same rents in different parts of the country, but to buy it's so much different. So that's where the opportunity is. I'm hopefully going to document my own purchasing journey on this channel, so let me know if that would be of interest. I know that's going to be super exciting for me and full of financial reward, as I'll see that coming in per month too. And the last one's a bit of an attitude thing for me, because we all earn and we can all save, but what stops us is our beliefs and our mindset and what we believe to be the norm. Regarding opportunities have gone, but more are coming. I find so common with people that I know that they're focusing on the ones that have gone and beating themselves up about it, but whilst they're doing that, they're missing on the ones that are coming. A great example would be buying properties in and around London 20 years ago. You would have made huge capital gains on that, which is where your money's worth more over time. But instead of focusing on that and how that area has gone up so much in price and the market's beaten you, instead look at upcoming opportunities perhaps in the northeast, where house prices are still quite low, but universities are there, and so on. My second point linking to that would be aware of who you are taking advice from. So many people will give you advice when you expose your mindset and share it with other people, but unless they've actually done it, what position are they in to tell you how to do it? And that can be something very important to keep in mind. Parents might advise you, business people might advise you. Just have to weigh up who you listen to. You can't listen to everyone. And lastly, inspiration can be in many forms. You can always learn something from someone. So you might look at someone and financially they're an inspiration, but someone else spiritually might be an inspiration. Someone else, their health and fitness might be really inspirational to you. So just be aware of that. You can better yourself, you can constantly learn, and that's when you keep on your top game. Because being an entrepreneur requires you to be one step ahead, to be up to date with the market, and to be constantly learning and evolving, because essentially the income you create comes from yourself. So I follow inspirations on Instagram that are financial inspirations, but I'm also not naive to the fact that I'm not going to look at them as an idol because they are not perfect in every sense. And I think you can really extract things from loads of different people, and that way you're much more effective and you're grabbing the best of so many parts. So that would be my advice to you. Constantly learn, constantly be educating yourself so you are at the frontier of new change and opportunities. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more, like my own property journey and when I invest, plus some other tips, let me know below and subscribe so you get notified when they come out. I will see you in the next video. Bye.